I'm not a racist, preach the teacher. You still they never had this. Number one, them wanna run about the gun. I wasn't licensed to have one. The minute they see me, fear me. I'm the epitome, a public enemy. Use, abuse, without clues. I refuse to blow fuse. They even had it on the news. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. Back when I wrote y'all, yes.
I missed something during last week's Donald Trump rally in Aurora. Was standing there, heard it, just wasn't sure if I heard what I thought I heard, so we did not play it back to you here. It seemed that Trump was talking in Aurora about using the U.S. military against Americans that he says hate this country. Listen to what he said.
We have the greatest military in the world, but you have to know how to use them. You have to know how to use them. But I protect you against outside enemies. But, you know, I always say we have the outside enemy. So you can say China, you can say Russia, you can say Kim Jong-un, you can say, but that's not, it's going to be fun. If you have a smart president, no problem. It's the enemy from within, all the scum that we have to deal with that hate our country. That's a bigger enemy than China and Russia.
All right, the military thing and the enemy within, like the comments are kind of next to each other, but it's not super clear. Well, over the weekend on Fox, Trump just came out and said what he seemed to be saying in Aurora, that he has a desire to use the U.S. military against American citizens.
I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated. But I don't think they're the problem in terms of election day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
The Harris campaign responded to that, saying that it should, quote, alarm every American who cares about their freedom and security.
Period. Welcome back. Hottest show in the galaxy. Wanda James brought this up during our discussion in the last segment. And I need to know, because I hear this all the time, you can't scare us into voting. These scare tactics won't work. So should we not talk about the fact that this man would like to use the military to deal with enemies from within, the scum who hate our country? Who do you think he's talking about? The enemies inside the country. You think it's the Mexicans? You think he's talking about the Mexicans that he, wants to not be in, and they're vermin and what have you? Do you think he's talking about them, or do you think he's talking about you and me? Because when I hear that, I hear you and me. I hear some of George Floyd, he would deploy the military because he wanted to. And as Wanda James said, he had people around him saying, no, sir, you can't do that. Those people are gone. And he's even said he wants to give police immunity. So every bad traffic stop, every time a police is called to a situation, as was done yesterday, I forgot what city it was, but this white guy was harassing a black guy. When they came, the white guy said, no, the black guy was harassing me. And who do you think they went to arrest? Not the white guy that the store owner called the police on, but the black guy that was minding his business. This, to me, should be a no-brainer. So if you feel like it's a scare tactic to tell you and to play these clips, something's inherently wrong with you. And I don't know whether it's a mental illness. I don't know whether it is selfishness at a level of self-hatred, because at this point, you should be, really concerned about all of us, not just your own pocketbook or your own pockets, but, and then I heard, well, he was president for 4 years and nothing happened. So a funny thing about things happening, they don't happen and then they happen. It's a funny thing. Things don't happen and then they do, because circumstances have changed. So giving this man the keys to not just the nuclear code, but also the Supreme Court, which gave immunity to that office of the presidency. And then he has said out of his mouth he would give immunity to police officers. I don't know how just that alone is problematic. But as I'm watching the mountain of Republicans and people who have historically never broken ranks from the Republican Party, and I'm not just talking about Dick and Liz Cheney, call Rove And it's somebody said, "Oh, how do you feel being in league or on the same side as Dick Cheney?" I said, "I feel like a human being with a brain, because clearly it's that bad that Dick Cheney can't even can't even. Karl Rove can't even. Many of these war criminals, allegedly, and folk who have been very horrible are saying Donald Trump is too dangerous to be in office. We're going to endorse. We're not going to do what dumbass Meghan McCain is saying, that she's not voting for either candidate, or some other people are writing my name. They're like, no, our only hope to preserve democracy is her. And so we're going to have this conversation today. I get it. The Gaza Strip is a whole mess. We got Lebanon. I got stories about that. We're going to talk with Qasim Rashid later on in the show about Michigan. But at some point, like, logic has to play a role. And I don't know, is it mental illness? When do you know you're in a cult? When do you know you're in a cult? Like, and how do you break people from this? Because I get it. To admit that something is inherently wrong with the candidate that you like is to admit that something's wrong with you. But how do we get help if we don't admit that there's a problem? So there's either mental illness, abject stupidity, or self-hatred at a place that is so dangerous, I don't even know what to do with it. But this is, I'm at a point where we're not doing the back and forth. There's nothing. Oh, what's she gonna do for black people? Well, she had 9 pages now, mother freakers, 9 pages. Well, she married to a white man. Like, there's nothing that's going to allow you to have any good damn common sense if we can't have a conversation about what's really at stake here. I'm not voting politics this time. I'm voting the sanctity of the potential to have rights and liberty here. And I love the way Wanda James framed incarceration as enslavement. Black people, black men in particular, disproportionately impacted by a criminal justice system that has never seen you as human, and you out here playing in people's faces? Come on now. 866-801-8255. The greatest military in the world, he says, but we're not using it properly. Yeah, sure, we have outside enemies, China, Russia, but it's the enemy within, all the scum who hate our country. Who is he referring to? Who is he referring to? Let's play that Karl Rove clip, because that was a little stunning, out here campaigning for Kamala Harris. I was like, what world? We're in an upside down, bizarre world, but I'm here for it. Damn it, let's get across the finish line. Play it, Smith.
If they were smart, they'd take the January 6th and go hard at it. And they would say, he wants to pardon these people who attacked our Capitol. I worked in that building as a young man. To me, the Congress of the United States is one of the great examples of the strength of our democracy and a jewel of the Constitution. And what those people did when they violently attacked the Capitol in order to stop a constitutionally mandated meeting of the Congress to accept the results of the Electoral College is a stain on our history. And every one of those sons of who did that, we ought to find them, try them, and send them to jail. And one of the critical mistakes made in this campaign is that Donald Trump has now said, I'm going to pardon those people because they're hostages. No, they're not. They're thugs. There were people, some of them had automatic weapons at a hotel in Virginia hoping to be able to be called up. We had people saying, where's Nancy Pelosi? We had people who were, taking desks and sitting at the desk of the Speaker of the House and attempting to, find people in order to bring them to justice and saying yelling at the police, kill them all. And so why Trump has done this is beyond me. If he had said, you know what? I trust our jury system. I trust law enforcement. Anybody who assaulted the Capitol ought to be. I mean, he said it once or twice, but now he's appearing in a video with people who assaulted police officers with an intent to take the Capitol by force. So, look, I'm a Republican. I don't want to have a Democrat president. I want to have a Republican president. But we're facing as a country a decision, and everybody gets to make it, as to what kind of leadership we're going to have. And to me, it is a mistake on the part of the Trump campaign to allow the president's impulses to identify himself with the people who assaulted the Capitol rather than people who stand for law and order.
Yeah. Law and order. It's the hypocrisy, though. That's it. Karl Rove, what is happening? Here we are, though, 866-801-8255. I don't know how anyone can see this differently. I really don't. I was walking this morning asking myself, because people who I think are in a cult may think that I'm in a cult. But I was like, at least this cult has like rationales and reasoning behind why we're like facts to stand on. This is so wild. And he's absolutely right. If you could watch January 6th and be like, those people need to be pardoned, something's inherently wrong with you. And you're not an American. You're not a patriot. Stop flying a flag. Stop it. You're defiling the flag, actually.
My days are cooler. Nights are warmer. And I put the blame on you. Time moves slow.